2017 Honda Rebel 300/500. Though my own experience with the infamous entry-level motorbike had been limited until now, it was actually the first bike I'd ever ridden. I earned my motorcycle endorsement astride a previous generation model. At the time, the Rebel seemed massive. My lack of comparisons and excitable imagination grew the 250cc machine to 110 times its size, with power to match. I was intimidated. Luckily, I passed my class with flying colors, and Honda became my go-to OEM for a few years. My next beast was a CM200, RAW. Mine is a story many moto enthusiasts share. Since 1985, most new riders have likely learned aboard Honda's good girl bike with a bad girl name. The CMX series has always been considered a launching pad, and it's never been more than a means to an end. It's a motorbike most known as the portal to freedom as America knows it best. Aside from necessity, however, there's no arguing its low price point, durability, simplicity and accessibility. The previous Rebel, frankly, wasn't renowned for performance, aesthetic, or comfort. But 2017 might stir things up a bit. Honda has been quite blatant about its intentions for the new line. It wants the Rebel to reach the older teens and young adults, those making up the next wave of riders, because they're the next set of humans to rule the world. And they're the toughest to crack. They're picky and fickle and contradicting. I know because I'm part of this group. We claim to want comfort, or style, or performance, or heritage, or reputation, yada, yada. We think we want it all, then the next thing comes around and we want that instead. Screw the well-rounded product that took years of R&D. That was cool last year, but this year I want to be a hooligan who races flat track or pops 12 o'clock wheelies on the dyno or travels the world on an Africa Twin. But we'll always need something to get us started. And it would be nice if that something could also serve as a bike to cruise round town on when we're seasoned riders. A bike that does the simple stuff first and fulfills all the other demands second, third, and fourth. What we really need are choices, variety within a few quality products that are different enough, but relatively interchangeable. A good base to work with, if customizing is in the cards, a handsome look that catches the eye but isn't so fashionable we'll lose interest at that upcoming indie motorcycle show. We want a bike that can be ageless, or, if not, show its age well through patenting. The manufacturer should offer some accessories to seal the deal on aesthetics and satisfy our need to keep buying more stuff. It should be a bike that has enough of everything, low and high-end torque, even power delivery, good stopping ability, maneuverability and a decent amount of comfort. Oh, and above all, to actually gain attention from all variety of rider, it must be approachable. Because fear can conjure up plenty of excuses as to why we don't need or want something. So, yeah, pretty simple right? All the things for not all of the money. And I believe the Rebel 500 is the sure thing we never knew we wanted, and more. The 300, however, I'm not quite convinced. Equally, you could add the accessories and touring accoutrements that'll help squeeze out even more miles of use. Both blessed with a 27.2-inch seat height, you might guess that these short stacks have a Napoleon complex. The Rebels stand up for themselves, and they can be, a little bit, mean if they need to be. You want them to climb a steep, twisty mountain? Done. The 300 might lag a bit, but give it a chance, and it'll make it without being run over by some inattentive commuter. The 500, meanwhile, blasts through most obstacles without so much as a bead of sweat. Though the horsepower wasn't divulged to our group, neither bike felt lacking in straightaways, around bends, or when passing semi-trucks at a cool 75 miles per hour average. They did so with barely the buzz on the bigger bike's parallel twin, and as much smoothness as you could expect from the 300 single-cylinder thumper. Though, both bikes could afford a lot better suspension. For someone of my stature, 5 feet 1 inch tall and 125 pounds, it wasn't a huge issue. But when the ride became rough my butt was reading the road like Braille. Neither Rebel is the fastest among its peers, or the strongest or even the loudest. But hell, do they have heart. Sitting low, I felt some tension while waiting through rush hour, but it wasn't long before my faith in the nimble and swift little mid-control cruisers bolstered my courage, blasting me between cars and trucks and SUVs. Guts are what make up the real differences between the two new models. A disparity begins first and foremost at the engine. The 500 roars to life with a parallel twin, while the 300 hosts a single beating heart in its gauge. The 500's extra cylinder helps beef its fighting weight up to 408 pounds, wet. The 300 keeps sculpt with a respectable 364 pounds. Both feature angular tanks that carry 2.96 gallons of fuel and come in all of my favorite colors, though only the 300 comes in the matte pearl white, a color I love, and the 500 in bright yellow, a color also on the top of my list. Ultimately, though, both of Honda's new Rebels are responsive, smooth, unsuspectingly assertive, moldable as putty, as manageable as any lightweight bike you'll ever handle, and a damn good time. With the 500 in particular, the Rebel is no longer just a beginner bike but a promising choice for a variety of interests. It's as much for an entry-level rider as an expert, the casual ride with an edge. Ride around town. Cruise through the canyons. Grab a board and head to the beach. Or just survive the horrific California congestion.